Hi, Aiden. How are you doing today?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm good. Always good to speak to a fellow UCB alumnus.
Ah, yes. Do you live in LA?
Yeah,
Cool. Yes. Yes, yes, yes. The improv community is strong here.
very strong. I did the sketch writing program, moved up to
Okay.
levels, and then did a bunch of not too shabby back when that was more of a thing.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, sketch writing. I did a few sketch writing classes, but was mostly in the improv side.
But I loved you on the After Party. To me, that's a show that got canceled criminally too soon. But your
Yeah, what the
character
heck?
Jennifer too does get to dance as part of a musical number. So I'm curious, with the X-Cetra album then finding like niche fame around 2020, did filming those sequences bring you back to recording the album when you were a preteen?
Yeah, it kind of did because, back then, etc., our band was so, we were 12 when we made this album right here. And we all were kind of like, well, we're not really singers and we're not really dancing. Like we're not really, we made all this stuff no thinking that we weren't actually very good at any of it. And doing the after party, and I used to do musicals and things, and my mom has always been like, you should do voice lessons, you should do more dance classes, and I'm like, I'm not, whatever. And then the after party was kind of a surprise. They were like, you're going to be doing some rehearsals for this musical episode. I was like, oh, okay. And then it was so fun. It kind of felt like that free childhood thing where you're just dancing for the fun of it, and there's not like no one's being too serious about it, and there's not too much pressure on it because it's also funny and fun. And it did open up a world for me where I was like, oh, I want to do more of that. And then having the album be discovered in 2020 honestly felt really like kind of embarrassing at the time because I was like, that was such a weird thing we did. I can't believe anyone is going to hear that. And then there was still that like little girl in me that was like,
Mm.
yikes. Um, but now been this kind of integration of that little girl and my adult self. And I'm like, you can do art, you can dance, you can sing, you can make stuff for the sake of making stuff. It doesn't have to be because someone's paying you to do it.
You record the album in 2000, it gets rediscovered, uploaded online in 2020, develops this cult following. So as the Etc. revival is happening, at what point do you look at all of this happening, having a record label like reach out to you? At what point do you go, you know what, we have to start filming because this would be a really cool documentary?
Right. Well, so yeah, so we had written these songs in the year 2000 hoping to be the Spice Girls or Destiny's Child, and we made like feature films on my video camera, my home video camera. Um, and I think Robin, Janet and Mary's mom, who was a self-produced musician and had a recording studio in her guest room, we had asked her to record an album for us, and she was like, "Okay, yeah, I have these tracks from my friend in Berlin. I'm going to rearrange your pop songs to fit these tracks and made these CDs for us." And then we were like, "This is really weird. This is not pop. This is a strange sound." And now we're in junior high and everything's embarrassing. Let's never talk about that ever again. That was so weird. And then 20 years later, somehow it ends up on the internet. I still don't totally know how. And the fact that it connected with people and all of these things started happening, that we weren't doing. I work really hard at being an actor and a filmmaker. I wasn't trying to be a musician. I had no idea it was on the internet. And then this record label, Numero Group, calls, who's extremely cool. And they're like, we want to sign, etc. We want to release you guys in stores on vinyl. Then we got sampled by TV Girl and George Clanton, and those are really cool musicians. And just things were happening. And one of my best friends, Barry Rothbart, is a filmmaker and actor and writer. And I was talking to him about it and some friends. We were watching The Bachelor, and I was like, this crazy thing is happening with this album. And we were like, he was like, we should do something. And Douglas McGowan at Numero Group had said, you might want to think about like getting old footage together for a documentary. Could be cool. And I was like, yeah, I guess it could be cool. And then the more I talked to Barry about it, the more he was like, why don't we just do it? Why don't we do it ourselves? There was a strike happening. I bought an FX3 camera, and we were like, let's document this and see what happens. But what's crazy about a scripted film? You write the script and then you shoot it and then you edit it. With a doc, you shoot a bunch of stuff and then you have to essentially write the script because you're like, I don't know what the story's going to be, and then you have to put it all together. And we worked with our editors, Phil Rosanova and Audrey Leach, and me and Barry for, a year just piecing together this story. And it's been like such a bizarre, cool experience what's come out of it. But we had no idea what was going to happen.
How much of it do you think is right place, right time? Because it gets uploaded online in 2020, around the time of like COVID lockdowns where everyone's kind of
Yeah,
depressed and like we're in our own head. But it's kind of that mindset you would have when you're in like junior high of like you're just like anxious about everything all of the time. And so
true.
everyone's in that mindset. How much do you think like this could have only happened in 2020 versus if someone put it online in 2015 or 2025?
That's such a good point. I hadn't, something I thought was really interesting about it was that when we were making the album, it was like Y2K, this worldwide, the world's ending event was happening. And then we were fine. But then 20 years later, another worldwide epidemic thing is happening with lockdown, and it emerges. Felt strange. Like it felt like this weird mirror in some way. And I think you're right that maybe it just wouldn't have hit in the same way if people weren't at home, like looking for things and trying to figure things out. And also that there was enough time since it happened, that we're able to look back now at that era that was very strange that we all grew up in and see it from a different lens now. I think a few years afterwards, we still couldn't see it because we're still in it. So it just really happened at the right time, and timing is everything, isn't it?
And Robin really feels like a driving force throughout the film, like in encouraging you girls to like record and polish the album a little bit. Like I remember like making like shitty movies with my friends, but like I wouldn't want like anyone to see those because we were just like off on our own. But like, do you think having that
Same.
adult figure in your life like helped you pursue just creative, like getting into acting and improv and everything?
Well, so my mom she acted in college and she's a psychologist now, but she was always, my house was kind of the hub where we would sleep over all the time. And my mom was everyone's second mom. And she handed us the video camera and was like, go make stuff. And there was never any judgment from her. It was just like, you should do this. And it was so supportive. I really took for granted that a lot of people don't have that from their parents. And then we had Robin, who, with music, took us seriously. Like, that's pretty crazy to take little girls' art seriously. I feel like it's very rare. And we were really lucky that she was like, you can do this. Let's do it. Let's collaborate. And so we kind of rose to the occasion to be like, okay, we're going to show up and we're going to make this album. Um, so it just, and that was really special. And then now to have a record label take us seriously, to have people like you watch this film and take us seriously is there's still the little girl in me that's like, wow, I can't believe anyone's taking this seriously. It's really cool.
You talked about finding the story within the documentary. Was there any footage that you really liked, but maybe it just didn't fit within kind of the narrative you were trying to put together, so it had to kind of fall on the cutting room floor?
Yes. I mean, we joked a lot that we were like, should this be a three-part series? Because there's so much. I mean, we covered so much about all kinds, childhood is complicated and girlhood is complicated. There's a lot of darkness and funny stuff and wacky stuff and things that came up. I'm reading from my diary in the movie, and there's stuff about trying to understand my identity and race and not wanting to be ethnic, and then there's all kinds of other things that have happened to us and things we talked about that were really interesting, but we had to keep it really focused because we were like, this is about our relationships with each other and our coming of age and creativity, and you can't just be deviating on a million tangents. So it was hard. It was really hard to be like, stick to the story.
Is X-Cetra currently working on another? Do you have like another album kind of like working? Like, would you like continue to explore like kind of the 2000 songs, or would you be more interested in kind of what's more happening today with pop music?
Yeah, so in the doc, we wrote two new songs and we have decided to do a new album. And I think what we've just tried to talk about as a group is like, the thing about Etc. is it is a bit genreless. It's kind of undefinable in terms of sound. It's a very strange sound. And we had so many different interests. You know, we loved the Spice Girls, we loved Fiona Apple, and we loved all kinds of different genres. And so I think for us to make stuff now, we just want to make stuff that feels fun to us. And because it's not our day job, it's not like there's not the same kind of pressure on it the way I think a lot of musicians feel to brand themselves a certain way. We're just doing it for the joy of it. So we're just going to see what happens. And it's probably going to be a lot of weird ass sounds.
Well, congratulations on getting the documentary into South by Southwest. Is this going to be your first time going to the festival?
This is my third time going, but it's my first time as a director. So that's been a very different experience. I've been with films that I've acted in, and that was always so fun. But this is really feeling the support of the festival, supporting my vision, supporting my team of filmmakers and etc. has all been extremely beautiful, and that I get to share it on a big screen is also really rare now. So to be able to put it on a screen with an audience, I'm like, what a gift.
You are the director behind Summer 2000. Has it got you thinking about directing other movies or directing TV? Like, is that something you want to pursue further?
I'm thinking about it. Yeah, I'm right now I'm going to be adapting the written version of the X-Cetra story. So I'm writing that and we'll be producing that, and we'll see if I want to direct that or I want to bring on someone that I can maybe learn from. But yeah, I want to do all of it, right? Direct, produce. It's pretty invigorating.